Welcome back to another episode of Before It Made Sense, where I share secular stories with you guys about my previous life when I was living for the world. Today we're going to talk about one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not steal. Growing up, I didn't really need to steal. My pop got me damn near everything I wanted and everything I needed. But as kids, we follow our own paths and make our own choices. I think the first time I ever stole something, I was probably like 7 years old. I was inside a supermarket called Fine Fair with my stepmom and her mom. And I don't know, after we went shopping, when we were at the checkout, it's a very blurry memory, but I think I grabbed a box of candy off the shelf. It was probably like Mike and Ike's. It was a little 25-cent box of candy. And when we got home, she noticed that I got candy that she didn't pay for, and she knew I stole it. She put me in the corner. I got in trouble. Now, I don't think I did that with malice intentions. I think, kids, we tend to do that. Like, if you've ever taken a kid to a supermarket, they tend to grab things. But that was the first time, technically, that I took something without paying for it. I think a little later on, I was probably like 10 years old or so. I was with my pop inside a post office in the Fishtown neighborhood in Philly. And there was a set of glasses on the counter. It was like some black sunglasses. It's kind of foggy, but all I remember is we got into the car and my pop insisted that I go inside and grab them sunglasses. And I'm like, no, Dad, like I'm gonna get in trouble. I felt like I was gonna get caught because, it's a post office. It's a small environment. And there's a whole line of people there watching. So I didn't want to do it. I was girling, but he insisted. We exchanged some words. He was unhappy. He drove off and left me. He left me at the post office. Now, the post office wasn't that far from home. It was probably like 10, 12 blocks from where I was at in Philly. But all I know is when he left, I felt obligated. I kind of went inside, I grabbed the glasses, and I just bounced. I remember walking under the L. I remember very finely that it was also around, I think, 4th of July, because when I got home, he happened to pull up and he popped the trunk and he had like a big party box of fireworks. It was like a variety pack. Anyway, we squashed the beef. I know probably a little later on that year, I had some older cousins move into the house. They were probably like 16, 17, boy cousins, male cousins. I kind of looked up to them. So when we would go to big box stores like Caldor, some of y'all probably don't even know about Caldor, but Kmart, Walmart, even Office Max, they would steal. They would take pens. Now, before cell phones, we needed pens. If you wanted to write down somebody's number, if you wanted to take down some sort of information, you needed pens. So I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, I had a bunch of pens on my jean pocket. Like, it was like a status symbol almost. Like the little metal tab hanging out your pocket. And I used to take like the good Johns, like the $2, $3, $4 pens, like the gel pens or the pens that got like really leaky ink. You know what I'm talking about. You remember? Well, they're really good pens. And I guess monkey do, monkey see. I remember going into like Walmart and they would like disappear and then they would come back with some pens. And I would see them do that. So I would take pens and stuff too. I used to take dumb stuff, like stupid things. I remember darts. I didn't even have a dartboard, but I thought darts were cool. Like the real sharp darts. Like the darts that were like lethal, deadly, metal darts that you would throw it in like wood and it would bing, it would get stuck to the wood. Not the plastic ones, but real darts from like Models. I remember I used to go and take them from Models. Stupid things. I didn't have a dartboard. I think a couple of like the little flip trick spikes. I think I took some of them. I didn't really take nothing major. I wasn't like a real diehard kleptomaniac until I think I was probably like 12, maybe 12. I remember I was in Toys R Us. I was with my little sister. Now I got 7 sisters, 1 passed away, but I got 6 sisters and 3 brothers. I didn't grow up with them. I was raised by my pop in a single parent household. Now, my sister after me, we're the first 2, she was raised with my mom. All I know is that she came to stay over. I don't know if it was summertime or something. She came to stay over and hang out. My pop managed a business on Aramingo Avenue. He ran a company. And if you know this avenue has all the big box stores, Toys R Us, Kmart, Pathmark, Blockbuster, Petco, McDonald's, KFC, Checkers. It had all the big stores. Well, he left for work. I don't know, I was a kid. Somehow I wanted to go to Toys R Us. And I went with my little sister. I'm 2 years older than her, so if I was like 12, she was 10. I know we went into Toys R Us. I ain't really had no money on me. I ain't had no money, but I wanted something. I don't know. I guess that's like my subconscious was taking over. And We were in the game section, and this was around the time that PlayStation 2, PS2 was popular. And all I know is I spent like an hour and a half. Now that I look back at it, I was dumb. That's why I got caught. I spent probably like an hour and a half with my little sister in the game section in Toys R Us on Aramingo, trying to steal stuff. I didn't try. I unpackaged several items, expensive items too. A Game Shark, that was like 60, 70 bucks. If you know what I'm talking about, a Game Shark is something that helps you get cheat codes for games to help you pass the game. That was like 60, maybe 70 bucks. I took some memory cards. I don't know what else I took, but it was like damn near 180, almost $200 of stuff. But one thing that I do remember is when I was in one of the aisles, and I was dumb. First of all, we're two unaccompanied kids, me and my sister. We don't got no parents in the store, so cameras are probably already on us. Then I just keep putting stuff, like I pick stuff up, I keep walking aisles. I don't remember, bro. It was so long ago that all I know is that one of the scenes that stick out most to me, I was in one of the aisles and the aisles were short. So I remember that as I'm like trying to take something out of the package, I'm looking over the aisle and there's this older gentleman, Hispanic gentleman, probably in his 40s. He's like reading a magazine. It's so obvious. He's reading a magazine and then he's looking at me over the aisle and I caught eye contact with him. But it didn't give me a red flag. I was a kid, like, like I didn't know any better. And he looks back down, pretend like he's reading, and I'm going in, right? Mind you, the technology section in Toys R Us is only damn near 6-7 hours long. So I just kept circling. It was so dumb, bro. All I know is that probably an hour and a half later, when it was time for us to walk out the store, I go to walk out the exit, and that dude that was reading the magazine is right there with another dude. And they grab me and they grab my sister. And they take us to the back. I got caught. I got caught for stealing. They called the police on me. I had like some wild eye contacts. They were all white with an X. My mom got me into that. I wasn't raised with my mom, but she like, when I used to go to her house, she used to have a bunch of cool stuff. She used to rock contacts. So she kind of got me on my first pair of contacts. We bought them from under Kensington and Allegheny. And then I started getting hooked and I started buying red eyes, the cat eyes, the white eyes, all different colors. So when I got caught in Toys R Us, I had the X eyes, all white with an X. They were called Knockout. And I remember specifically because they took a picture of me. You know how they put a wall of thieves? They took a picture of me and I had to take my contacts out. And I remember taking them both out, put them inside the little container, and then them taking a picture of me because I wasn't allowed in the store. And then they called the police. So I said, can I call my father? My father works right up the block. So they allowed me to call my pop. My pop shot over. And my pop wasn't happy at all, as he should. And the police were on their way. He asked if we can avoid the police and can he pay for everything. So he ended up paying for everything. I think I cost him around $200. He had to pay for all the technology that I opened. But then I wasn't allowed in that store again. He had to go back to work. So he left us to walk home. From Aramingo to Kensington train stop, we were probably like a good dozen, maybe 12 to 15 blocks away. So we're kids, we had to walk back. Now my sister, she didn't do nothing. She was innocent. She didn't probably, I don't know if she knew what I was doing. She was just tagging along with her big brother. But I got caught stealing. And from there on, I never stole again from a store in my life. I think that moment traumatized me for the good. I never felt right. I always felt like I was being watched. I always felt like I can get caught at any time. I guess everything happens for a reason, right? It was meant for me to get caught there because who knew how far I would have got into theft. Now, I'm not going to fraud. Growing up, when I was probably like 16, almost 17, growing up with like my friends. Like for example, rest in peace, Walt. I remember we used to like walk in the neighborhood. One time, he was bugging out on like a Friday night and I saw in front of somebody's crib, like several blocks away from my house, they had like a porch, like a double plastic patio set. It was like a chair. It was a double set. Bro, grab that junk. We grabbed it and we ran down the block with it, but I didn't ever steal from a store. I took that from somebody's house. They was in front of their house and we put it in my bedroom. Then we tagged up all on it. Couple winters, I remember people would put like rolly chairs, like office chairs to hold parking spots. I was like 16 years old and we snatched them. I'll be with my homies. Yo, grab that, let's put it in the room because I used to chill in my room with a lot of my friends. That was probably it. but I never, ever, ever felt right stealing again from a store. Like, not even little. Like, you know how sometimes people go to stores, they'll open up a bag of chips at the beginning of the store, they'll eat it, and before they leave, they put it on the shelf, or even soda, they'll drink it, and then by the time they leave, I don't even feel right doing that. If there's open grapes, I don't feel right taking a single grape. Like, my conscience, like, it wouldn't allow me to. I feel like super duper 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 awkward. Like, I'll tell y'all a story, probably like 2 years ago, there's something called a Sheetz around here. It's a gas station and like a quickie mart. I was going to get, I think, pretzels or something. And when I was on my way out, on the door where you push the door open to leave, on the windowsill, there was a lighter. Now, it was a cool looking lighter, but it was on the windowsill. I swiped it. I grabbed it. I don't know why. I just grabbed it. Then I started feeling mad guilty. I started feeling like my conscience started eating me. I'm like, yo, I just stole, bro. God probably saw me steal that, bro. This is probably somebody's lighter that worked there. They were probably on lunch break. They put their lighter there and then they go smoke the cigarette on lunch. Like, bro, the next day, tell me why 24 hours later, like, I held their lighter hostage for 24 hours. I came back the next day, drove back to the same parking lot, went right back in just to put the lighter back on the windowsill and left. I don't feel right stealing. The Bible says, thou shalt not steal. Biblically, you know how some countries, they'll cut off your hands or they'll cut off your head or stuff like that? Biblically, sins were punishable by death. So stealing was punishable by death. So if I would steal, you were actually supposed to be executed. Now, there was this one time, I do got a crazy story when I was with my homie, Sano. I don't know if y'all remember the story about popping the tire, one of my first episodes, but my homie that I got booked because he popped the tire, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you have to check that episode out. One time I was with him and we was coming from around my way. We was like, we was going to cop some Mary Jane up by like 7th and like York or something, 8th and York. And we walked by 4th Street and there was a KX80 dirt bike, a Kawasaki, leaning on the side of a building. It was mad early, like 8 a.m. It was a dead, nobody was out. The dirt bike already looked stolen. It had spray painted parts, so it was spray painted a bunch of different colors. I'm like, yo, that's crazy, dirt bike. And he's like, yo, if it's still there when we come back, we gonna take it. So we went, we copped up, we walked back. This was like 15 minutes later. It's still there. What we did, we ran up to it, put it in neutral, and ran that thing home. That's a whole nother story, but that was in my younger years. And it wasn't from a box store. And it was just out there. Like, if we didn't take it, somebody else would have taken it. But like, to this day, I won't take nobody's bikes. I won't take nobody's nothing, bro. Wheels, nothing, bro. Like, if it's not mine, I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, some may call it a conscience, others may call it the Holy Spirit. But there's a voice that talks to me in my head that tells me what thou and thou shalt not do. And I shall not steal. And I don't feel right stealing. If it's not, I can buy it. And if I don't got enough money to buy it, I'll save it. Save money, and eventually I'll get it if I can. If it's meant for me, it'll be there, right? But that's just a little short story about a time or 2 or 3 or maybe 4 when I used to steal dumb stuff. But yeah, this is for anybody out there who may be battling. There's people in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that steal or that do different things. There's all sorts of methods of stealing nowadays in the new millennium. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for another episode. Stay blessed. And most importantly, stay holy.